London, 1888. A city choked by fog and shadowed secrets, its cobblestone streets slick with rain and despair. Poverty gnaws at the edges of society, a relentless tide pushing the vulnerable towards the dark heart of Whitechapel. Prostitution is a grim necessity for many women, their lives a desperate gamble against the cold indifference of the world. August 31st. The first whispers of terror begin to circulate, carried on the damp wind like a chilling premonition. Mary Ann Nichols found brutally murdered in Bucks Row, her body a stark tableau of unimaginable violence. The police are baffled, the public terrified, and the media descends, sensationalizing the tragedy for eager readers. The newspapers dub him Jack the Ripper, a name that will forever be synonymous with terror and mystery. September 8th, Annie Chapman joins Mary Ann in death, the pattern chillingly familiar, the fear escalating. Detectives struggle to piece together clues, the victims' profiles revealing a common thread of destitution and vulnerability. Suspicion falls on numerous individuals, from local thugs to respected professionals, each a potential shadow in the gloom. The Dear Boss letter, purportedly from the Ripper himself, arrives at Scotland Yard, mocking the police's incompetence. The letter sparks a frenzy of speculation and intensifies the public's fascination with the killer's twisted mind. September 30th, the double event, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, plunges Whitechapel into absolute panic. Stride's body is found in Dutfield's yard, Eddowes in Mitre Square, the brutality escalating with each horrifying discovery. Eddowes' kidney is removed, a particularly gruesome detail that marks a significant change in the killer's modus operandi. The From Hell letter, accompanied by a piece of human kidney, further escalates the terror and solidifies the Ripper's notoriety. The Metropolitan Police struggles to maintain order, overwhelmed by the scale of the crisis and the public's growing hysteria. Volunteer watchmen patrol the streets, their efforts largely futile against the darkness that blankets the neighborhood. November 9th, Mary Jane Kelly, the final canonical victim, is discovered in a horrific state in her room at Miller's Court. Kelly's murder is the most gruesome yet, pushing the public and the police to the brink of despair. The Ripper seemingly vanishes, swallowed by the labyrinthine streets of London, leaving behind a legacy of terror. False confessions and suspects abound, each claim adding to the confusion and perpetuating the mystery. Dr. John Watson, a medical student, is briefly considered, his knowledge of anatomy raising suspicions. Walter Sickert, the artist, becomes a figure of interest due to his fascination with the murders and his depictions of Whitechapel. Prince Albert Victor, grandson of Queen Victoria, is rumored to be involved, fueled by outlandish conspiracy theories. Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant, emerges as a potential suspect based on DNA evidence, though controversy surrounds the findings. Montague John Drute, a disgraced barrister, is briefly considered a suspect before his own tragic death by suicide. The leather apron myth arises, a figure initially blamed for the murders, representing the collective fear and scapegoating. The Ripper's identity remains a haunting enigma, a puzzle that has captivated and frustrated investigators for generations. The case becomes a cultural phenomenon, inspiring countless books, films, and theatrical productions. Theories proliferate, each offering a different perspective on the killer's motives and identity. Some believe he was a surgeon, others a butcher, still others a member of the aristocracy, hiding in plain sight. The social conditions of Whitechapel, poverty, overcrowding, and lack of opportunity, are examined as potential catalysts for the violence. The role of the Victorian era's societal attitudes towards women in poverty is scrutinized. The fear and paranoia that gripped London in 1888 continue to resonate today, a chilling reminder of human darkness. Each victim's story is a tragedy, a life cut short by a brutal and senseless act of violence. The victims were not just names in a newspaper, they were mothers, daughters, sisters, friends. The Ripper's crimes exposed the stark inequalities and injustices that plagued Victorian society. The investigation itself was flawed, hampered by prejudice, incompetence, and a lack of forensic science. The Ripper's legacy is one of enduring mystery, his identity remaining elusive despite centuries of scrutiny. The case has become a byword for unsolved mysteries and the dark underbelly of urban life. The name Jack the Ripper is synonymous with terror, intrigue, and the chilling potential for human evil. Was it a deranged individual acting alone, or was he part of a larger, more sinister organization? The limitations of Victorian policing and forensic science allowed the killer to evade capture. The psychological impact on the residents of Whitechapel was profound, leaving an indelible mark on their community. The press fueled the frenzy, sensationalizing the murders and contributing to the climate of fear. The unsolved nature of the case continues to inspire speculation, conspiracy theories, and amateur sleuthing. Modern forensic techniques have been applied to the case, but conclusive evidence remains elusive. DNA evidence has provided some clues, but its interpretation remains controversial and open to debate. The case raises fundamental questions about human nature, morality, and the limits of justice. The Ripper's actions were a stark indictment of Victorian society's failure to protect its most vulnerable members. The shadows of Whitechapel still seem to whisper tales of terror and intrigue long after the events of 1888. The Ripper remains an enigma, a dark specter haunting the streets of London and the collective imagination. Each new theory, each new piece of evidence only deepens the mystery and reinforces the sense of frustration. The victims deserve to be remembered, their lives honored, and their stories told. The Ripper case serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most civilized societies. Perhaps some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved, forever shrouded in darkness and speculation. But the questions linger, the fear remains, and the legend of Jack the Ripper endures. His name echoes through history, a chilling reminder of a time when terror reigned supreme in the streets of London.